Hi, welcome to the Daddy Curbs farm. You haven't seen an orchard video in a while. The orchard last year, actually the last couple years, hasn't done super well. Weather's been tough with excessive heat, excessive water at different times of the year, and then some freezes in the winters. So all of that combined, some of these trees didn't make it. Like this apple tree, for example, these first two apple trees on this first berm, it's dead. It didn't make it. It's got fungus growing out of it. The whole tree is dead. So we're going to take this tree out and replace it with a pomegranate tree that's been in the garden in a bag waiting to be planted. We're going to see if we can get it out with a shovel without too much trouble. I hope. There is some life coming off of the roots. This is all from the rootstock. It would end up being a different variety of apple, probably not a preferred fruit, but a very hardy root. Taking it off in pieces. I could probably plant that and come up with a crab apple or whatever that rootstock is. Apple trees in this area for many people just don't work, and I don't want to keep putting too much effort into growing apples when I could grow something else that works better. Alright, let's dig the hole. I may still be getting some apple trying to grow up off those roots. That's okay. We need the hole to be as deep as this is to the top of the soil. We don't want to bury it any further and bury that trunk too far. So I got that hole done just right. Take some of these root pieces out. I put some of the soil that came out of the hole, which is going to be nice loose soil to help those roots start to go down, to bring it up to the level that it needs to be. Now this root pouch, this fabric pot, is probably 5 years old. They don't have that long of a life. It's starting to fall apart. So I'm going to sacrifice it and cut it so that I can reduce the stress on this tree. Now that I have that fabric pulled away wherever it's sticking into the fabric, I'm just going to trim the root off a little bit, give it a little bit of a prune. Now the nice thing about the fabric pots is that the roots that grow out the side get light pruned, and as long as it doesn't sit in one place in the garden for too long, the roots get pruned off as well on the bottom. I'll get that positioned. Looks like it's a tad, just a little deep. So I'm going to pull it out, put some soil in the hole. Just to bring it up another inch or so. There we go. That looks nice. I'm going to make it so that this main trunk is pointing straight up. And while we're here, I'm going to give it just a little prune. Take off this side trunk. I could actually take that into the garden and start another tree if I wanted to. Alright. So now, I'll just fill in this nice loose soil around the rest of the tree. I didn't bring my small pruners up, but we are going to do some light pruning on the top of this tree to help reduce some of that wind drag. And now that it will undergo some shock by being transplanted, but if we can reduce some of that drag and reduce some of that area that needs energy from the roots, maybe we'll give it a better chance. So we're just going to take some of these tips off. A friend of mine bagged up some leaves and grass clippings from his yard. I'm going to use it to mulch around this tree, helping it to retain some water, hopefully giving this tree a better chance. As one more step, I'm going to bring some compost up from the compost pile I have in the back. It's mostly still wood chips, but it has some broken down. And I'll put that on top to help hold these leaves down, create a layered effect, give this tree some nutrients around the base, and retain the water. And that is a fruit tree planted to replace a dead fruit tree in the Daddy Curb's orchard. Now, one thing I like about the pomegranate, I should have mentioned this at first, is that I know in this area it does well. And I know that because right across the street, our neighbor has a whole row of them that he has basically neglected for years, but they still continue to thrive and produce fruit. Here on the Daddy Curb's farm, I believe that everyone has a story and every story counts. Thank you so much for being a part of my story through this video and allowing me to be a part of yours. I'll talk to you soon.